The Energy Secretary, Ed Miliband, says our way of life could be under threat from climate change as the Met Office says extremes of heat and rainfall are becoming the norm. The Weather Service's annual State of the Climate report shows records for high temperatures and rain are more frequently being broken. Here's our climate editor, Justin Rowland.
We need to brace ourselves for more heat waves because the UK will be seeing many more very hot days and many fewer extremely cold nights, according to this latest assessment of how global warming is reshaping the country's climate. The UK is breaking heat and rainfall records increasingly frequently, the Met Office says. Last year, we had our second warmest February, our warmest May, our warmest spring, our fifth warmest December and our fifth warmest winter since records began in 1884, and some of those records have already been surpassed this year. And the country is getting wetter too. Rainfall patterns are more variable, but last year saw the wettest winter half year in over 250 years, the Met Office says.
Every year that goes by is another upward step on this warming trajectory that our climate is on. The observations are providing hard evidence that our climate is different now to what it was just a decade or a couple of decades ago.
Inevitably, the UK's changing climate is having an impact on the natural world. At this forest research centre just outside London, they're exploring how our trees and forests can be made more resilient to the country's future climate. Many trees just can't cope at the moment.
After a drought, you can see reduced growth, so trees aren't growing as we would expect them to. If you look up in the canopy, you can see the leaves looking a little bit raggedy, and other signs of stress as you're walking through the woodland, and extreme examples, you might find that the trees have actually died.
Studies by Forest Research show one species that could do well are coastal redwoods from California. It means that in the decades to come, the world's tallest trees could become a common sight here in the UK. Justin Rowland, BBC News, the Alice Holt Research Centre.
Monday morning, and for lots of us it was a weekend of trying to keep cool, wasn't it? The UK going through its third heat wave of the year so far, and apparently it's something we've got to get used to. The Met Office warning today that extreme heat is now becoming the new normal.
Yes, the Weather Service's annual State of the Climate report shows records for high temperatures and for rain too are being more frequently broken. It's quite timely, isn't it? I know you might think that we've planned to talk about this today because of the weather we've had over the weekend, but no, this report was coming anyway. And the Energy Secretary, Ed Miliband, saying our way of life could be under threat from climate change.
Well, as we adjust to maybe a bit of respite today as the temperatures drop a little bit this morning, we thought we'd talk through this with our climate editor, Justin Rowland, who joins us on the sofa, and also our weather presenter. Matt, morning to both of you. And should we just try to understand, you know, when we talk about climate and weather, for the two of you, what are we talking about? What's the difference, Matt?
They're both separate. Basically, weather is what's happening with you on a daily basis, but they're intrinsically linked. It's what's happening on a daily basis and then averaged over time, and it helps you to work out trends. We all have hazy memories of what the weather was like in the past. We all have memories of hot days, cold days, wet days, but this just report links it all together and it shows you how the changes are, and that's how we get the climate. The climate is how our weather is changing over time.
Justin, what does that mean? You know, having looked at this report, what does that mean for us?
Well, I mean, it's really interesting. I mean, this report, the Met Office is saying that our climate is notably different to what it was just a few decades ago. And I think we kind of instinctively know that it is a bit different. I mean, we often say, God, it's hotter than it used to be, isn't it? And this is kind of putting data to that feeling that we've got. So it's saying many more very hot days, so many more extreme hot days, also many fewer cold nights, cold days and nights as well, wetter too. And interestingly, the rainfall coming, the additional rainfall coming during winter. So a significant rise in winter rainfall last year. The winter 6 months were the wettest winter 6 months for 250 years. So it really, what it's doing is giving a statistical basis for that sense that I think we all have that the climate's changing and changing in ways that, frankly, we should be quite worried about.
And if we put this past weekend, in context, we saw temperatures around 10 to 17 degrees higher than normal. Those sort of values, temperatures 10 degrees above normal, those days happen 3 times more often than they did when we were kids. So that is how the climate is shifting. Those extremes of heat, in particular, are getting more and more regular.
I suppose the danger, the difficulty is getting distracted by one heat wave, one hot summer, but thinking of it instead in terms of gradual changes and over time, isn't it?
It is.
It's not just one weekend.
No, and it's also the impact that has. I know quite a few of us probably sat there and thought, I really love this. The sunshine, the warmth was great. But that has an impact on agriculture. It has an impact on our health as well. Transport. We could grow things we never used to be able to, but things we did, we wouldn't be able to. We wouldn't be able to. And also there's the lack of frost. That has an impact on disease.
So it's really dramatically affecting nature. And I've just been looking at one animal that's affected, bumblebees. Bumblebees are designed for cold climates. They can't cope in temperatures above 28 degrees. They can't forage. You can't forage, you can't eat. And bumblebees really suffer in the high temperatures. I thought it was interesting to take one species and look at that. So you look, and it becomes very hard for them to survive. And you only need a short period of really high temperatures. Can't eat for 4 or 5 days. You know, our bumblebee populations could be hit very hard.
So what could we be doing at a local level? What difference can we make ourselves?
I mean, the really important thing if we're worried about nature is making sure there's enough food available. So just with the bumblebee example, they eat nectar. They get both their food and their liquid from nature, from nectar, so they need more flowers. Plant flowers, right? Really simple message. But crucially, animals and plants need to be able to move north. So as our climate gets warmer, we've been discussing that, as our climate gets warmer, they need to be able to find ways to move north. And obviously it's very hard in a world in which you've got roads and housing developments and factories. We need to create corridors, wild corridors they can use to migrate further north. And then new plants and animals will cross across the channel, will come in and begin to take over in the southern areas. We see that quite dramatically in the waters around Britain, where we're seeing new species of fish and kind of whales and things like that we didn't see in the past. So it is beginning to happen, but we need to encourage that process to continue.
For wildlife and for all of us as well, this report is a reminder that we're going to have to change the way we do things, aren't we? Our infrastructure, housing, planning, health service.
Yeah, completely. It is a way of adapting. We have to adapt to the changing nature of our climate. Just take housing for one example. Housing regulations haven't really changed that much, but one thing a lot of us have struggled in the heat is houses retain the heat during the summer months and during these hot spells, and that has a massive impact on our health. Just take the most extreme heat that we saw a few years back, temperatures hitting 40 degrees. One report suggested that there was over 1,000 extra deaths from that heat in just a 3-4 day period.
Gents, thank you both very much indeed. You'll have the weather forecast for the next few days, and it's a little bit cooler.
A welcome relief from the heat, I think, for some.
I think you're right. Thank you very much indeed for now. Speak again a bit later.